Welcome back to another video, and in today's one we're checking out the Kia Sportage. But not just any Kia Sportage, the diesel. Finally, the diesel is here. And it's a really good car. This could actually be quite a short video, but I need to give you the details about it. Obviously, I can't just say it's a good car, go get it. So let's get into it. Now, as I've mentioned, this is the diesel version. So it's powered by a 1.6 litre turbo diesel that puts out 100 kilowatts and 320 newton meters of torque, compared to the equivalent petrol engine, which puts out 132 kilowatts and 265 newton meters of torque. Now, the benefit of the diesel is you're obviously getting more torque. So you're getting a lot more low down grunt and a lot more better pulling power. But the other benefit of diesel is you're getting much better fuel economy. Kia does claim 4.9 liters per 100 kilometers on this particular car. I haven't been able to get close to that. I'm currently sitting in the high fives and around 6, which for me I'm completely happy with. I'm driving the car regularly. I'm driving it normally. I'm not trying to be too careful with the throttle. So enjoying your car, driving it like it should be driven. I don't think that the fuel economy of that magnitude is a lot. So high fives, 6s, I'm very happy with. And then let's talk pricing. So the Kia Sportage lineup, including petrol, starts at 565,000 Rand. And to hop into a diesel model, you're going to have to fork out 609,000 Rand, which I don't think is too bad because you're getting quite a bit of kit for that money. But if you do want the top of the line, completely kitted out Kia Sportage, you're going to be looking at spending 780,000 Rand. Now, the middle of the road EX models, which is the one I'm driving at the moment, that's come with quite a bit of kit, not with everything. I mean, there are still a couple blank buttons and that sort of thing, but that's okay. I think this is completely livable, and in terms of pricing, this is probably the one to get, in my opinion. So in terms of some of the cool things that you are getting with this particular model, is you are getting this massive infotainment screen in the middle here that does house Apple CarPlay and everything. But the cool thing about this is that the Apple CarPlay fills up the whole screen. It doesn't just split it like some of the other cars in this segment do. You've also got wireless charging down here in the middle. You've also got heated seats and a heated steering wheel. Heated seats and a heated steering wheel, guys. I think that's super impressive to have this in this car. You don't have a full 360 surround camera, but you do have from the front, and you do have parking sensors in the front and back too. Speaking of the back, you also have rear cross traffic alert, which works really well as cruise control, but it's not adaptive cruise control, just the standard one. You also get a digital instrument cluster for the driver, but it's not fully digital. It's like split up into 3 screens that you can kind of see, but it gives the illusion that it's a full digital display. You also get these seats, which are artificial leather and cloth combination, which I don't think is too bad. I mean, if you think about a South African summer having to get into seats that are leather, you're gonna cry. So I don't mind these, and they are also really comfortable. Now, although the interior doesn't have full leather in it, what they have done is given you a full leather steering wheel. So, the part that connects you with the car is leather, so that feels nice, and I think that's a great addition. The interior quality is also quite good. There's no rattling or bumping going on in here. That's actually quite solid, and I'm very impressed with that in terms of the center console and everything. It doesn't squeak, it doesn't move. I actually think it's really good. There's more expensive German cars that make a lot more noise for almost double the price of this. You've got soft touch materials going across the doors and the dash. You've also got piano black going across the interior, which is nice. It's not all over, but I think the bits that they've put in here is the perfect amount. You've also got this textural material up here, which gives like a metal or aluminium look to it, which kind of elevates the premiumness. And just below that, in the center here, you've also got this separated climate control / multimedia control. So depending on what you want to look at, you click the button and it changes the display to bring up those settings, which I think is really cool. And you also don't have to dig through the whole infotainment to get it. So when you do actually change the setting on this climate control here, it actually changes the functions of the actual dials too. So when you are using the fan, the dials will then be the temperature. But when you do change it to multimedia, they change to volume. So I think that's very handy, and it's a very smart way to use the space. And I've also just realized the car is turned off because it's got start stop. So there you go, another feature. In terms of the power delivery, it's okay. you do only have 100 kilowatts, so your off the mark speed and your top end and higher end speeds aren't going to be that great. But because you do have a lot more torque than what you would have in the standard Sportage, you do have a lot more pulling power, so you can feel that when you put your foot down going up a hill. It definitely carries you through there, and it replaces the lack of kilowatts, in my opinion. Now, this is meant to be a run-around adventure vehicle for your family. So you are going to go pick up the kids from school, you are going to go driving on the dirt roads, you are going to be taking this on your weekends away. Now, if that's the case, you don't need a car with heaps of power and speed and things like that. So I think the trade-off that they've got here in terms of the kilowatts is that you are getting a much better fuel economy, and you do have the pulling power to bring a trailer with you without it having to affect your drive quality too much. The cabin is also really quiet. You do hear the engine. Obviously it's a diesel, so it's going to be a bit louder than petrol, but it's not overbearingly loud. The tire noise also isn't that loud. The only bit of noise that I am picking up is wind noise off of the top here and off of the mirrors. But otherwise, it's a very comfortable and enjoyable driving experience. Foot down. And that brings me on to the gears. And down in the center here, you have a really nicely designed gear selector. I really like it. It feels good in the hand. It almost gives you a, like an aeroplane or fighter jet style when you're using it, which is pretty cool. It's like one of those thrusters in a plane. It's quite fun to use. So this is a 6-speed auto. It does have the option to put it into manual if you want to, so you can drop gears, you can increase gears, anything like that, but I just leave it in the normal one. The pull-off is okay. It's a little bit laggy for me, but it's not that bad that I would, call it out as a red flag. But what is a little bit odd for me for this is when you are cruising, or not even cruising, when you are driving really slowly, like where you would need to be in first gear, the car doesn't really understand if you want to be in first or second. So I do get a little bit of a jarring sensation while driving. That does happen sometimes. It's not all the time, but it's just something that I've picked up. You also have the option of a few drive modes. So if you use the selector down here, you've got Eco, Normal, Sport, and Smart. For me, it just stays in Eco because the power delivery is sufficient and it's quite comfortable to use. But if you really want to feel a difference in this car and to actually feel what it's capable of, then put it into Sport, because the accelerator tightens up, it becomes a lot more aggressive, it picks up speed quicker, and I know that it's not true, but the car actually feels a little bit quicker than what the figures tell you when you're driving it in sport mode. But don't expect great fuel consumption numbers if you leave it here. But if you do opt for one of the GT lines, you will get a lot more spec with the car. You'll get leather seats. You'll also get some of the smart safety tech. You are going to get the ventilated seats as well as 19-inch wheels, which I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, because these 18s are perfect and it leaves you with more than enough rubber to make the ride quality great. And then in terms of space and convenience, you do have a decently sized glove box. It's not massive, but the same goes for the door bins. They aren't the biggest, but they are very narrow. So if you do need to slide something in, you have to really, like a bottle like this that you would normally fit in another one, you have to kind of fiddle with it to squeeze it in, but it eventually goes in there. As mentioned, you do have some space up front here too with some USBs as well as the wireless charging, and you do have quite a big bin down here in the middle with a really soft armrest. The back seats are also really comfortable. Your passengers will be super happy back there when you are going on a trip with them. The legroom is okay. It's also not a lot, so I do sit quite tight in the back there myself in this driving position. And then in terms of the space in the boot, that's pretty average. It's not the biggest in the segment, but I also know that it's more than enough room for your family or for whatever generic stuff you're going to be doing with this car. But just know if you need more space, you have enough power to pull a trailer. And then there's the design of this car, my favorite thing about it. Now, the designers of this car definitely thought outside of the box because there's nothing boxy about it. Every shape in here is organic. You've got smooth, soft lines. The way that the headlights are shaped like inward arrows, I think is really, really cool. It makes this car stand out at night, and it makes it immediately recognizable as a Kia Sportage. It's definitely one of the nicest cars that I have driven in a while in terms of design, comfort, quality, and everything. Kia have knocked this one out of the park. And now it's time for the verdict, which I'm pretty sure you guys have guessed by now. I really like this car. So in terms of the Greg Dennis review test, the GDR test, should you get the car, should you drive the car, or should you remove it from your list of cars that you're looking at? This is a definite, go get the car. If you're in the market for a mid-size SUV that's got quite a bit of space, it's got quite a bit of tech, it looks good, it's comfortable, it's got a really modern look to it, and because it's a diesel, you've got all the pulling power and you've got great fuel economy, it's almost a no-brainer. And there isn't really a competitor in terms of the cheaper Chinese alternatives because they don't offer a diesel. Now, if you are looking for a Kia Sportage online, please go and check them out on changecars.co.za. They're approved by Discovery Insure as well as all of the automotive manufacturers. And they vet all of the dealers that sell cars on their website to make sure that the car that you get is of the highest quality. So thanks for watching another Greg Dennis review. I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope you learned a little bit more about the Kia Sportage, but the diesel version. If you did, please will you drop a like below. And if you want to see more videos like this in the future, then make sure that you're subscribed. And until then, I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.